Good evening. My name is Joe Reinhardt. I'm from Pinellas Park. I do have a little bit of a medical problem, makes it difficult for me to speak sometimes, so I'll labor through that, and mercifully I will be brief. First of all, I do want to thank the Council for standing up for the Constitution of the United States. I know that's kind of perhaps an overblown statement, but I don't really think so in essence, and I congratulate you for that. Truthfully, I can hardly blame the mayor for being upset. I mean, when you have a bunch of basically uppity atheists coming down here telling you how to pray, I can understand why that might affect you somewhat. And I want to clarify that. I don't think we've ever told anyone that they couldn't pray or necessarily how to pray, other than it might best be exercised in a secular political forum as a moment of silence. I'm glad to see that you are, some of you at least, moving in that direction. I just have one other point I want to make, and I admit to having cribbed this from Ricky Gervais, the comedian who was accused of being offensive at a recent awards show. First of all, there's nothing whatsoever about the word atheist any more than there is offensive about the word Baptist or Mormon or anything else. But the fact of the matter is that there is no right to be offended. I know, I looked in the Constitution and it ain't there. And so if people are offended by the word atheist or the sight of the word atheist in conjunction with a flag, I remind you, you're sitting in front of a flag yourself. It's their fault. Frankly, it's not my fault. They're offended. There are people in this country who are offended because of same-sex marriage. There are people in this country who are offended because we have a black man sitting in the White House. So just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. And that's the point I would like to leave you with. If you're offended by my presence here, it's your unfortunate fault. And I wish you all well. Thank you.
City Council members and Mayor Sullivan, I am happy to be here this evening, and I am very pleased about the vote this evening that was taken to allow all citizens freedom to speak before this august body. All of you, when taking office, gave an oath to uphold the Constitution. And apparently, because of the vote, I see many of you have also read it. But I'd like to speak of another document, and that is the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Brandt has said that we may have offended him by leaving out the words "under God." But I just would like to make a point of information that the Pledge of Allegiance was written by a Baptist minister many, many years ago without the words "under God." He saw no need for those words in a country that all religions are accepted and people of no religions are accepted, because we are not allowed to establish a religion. In 1954, those words "under God" were added. So we are traditionalists and have merely written and spoken the original Pledge of Allegiance to my country. I want to pledge allegiance to my country. I don't feel I should have to pray to a God in order to pledge my allegiance to my nation. And I feel this is my right, and that I, though not offended, feel marginalized and discriminated against when I am forced in a public setting, a civic setting, to pray to a God I don't believe in, whether it is an oath in a courtroom when the very first thing I'm asked to say is a lie, or in a case like this, to take my Pledge of Allegiance from me and make me have to pray in order to stand up for the principles and the Constitution of my country. So I would like simply to say that we have not changed the Pledge of Allegiance. We simply prefer the traditional, original pledge, which was written by a Baptist minister. And I thank the council members who have stood up for the Constitution today. As a proud citizen of this country, I applaud all of you who have done so. And for those of you who did not, that book, that document on which you gave an oath, I suggest that you read it. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
Good evening, everybody. Betty Dill. I'm back. I've been out due to personal things, but I've been watching. And I would say this to all of you. There's still apologies needed, and none have been given. It doesn't sound like a gentlemanly world, does it? Oh well. Just bear with me, because I'll be seeing you with another little message. Thank you.
Seamless religious overtone or unreligious overtone tonight, and disturbed me very much.
Give us your name.
Richard Howard, Northeast Cape Coral, Gator Circle area. People saying they don't believe in God and everything. Just one statement to all of them and all of you. God believes in you, and God believes in the atheist. God bless them.
The people who talk about understanding the Constitution certainly understand it a little bit differently than I do. The First Amendment says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of a religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Now, my experience has been that this group that's represented today wants to limit that part of the First Amendment. And then they talk about being offended. And one of them said that I said I was offended. Well, I hate to use the word offended because I'm not easily offended. That's not the right word. Sometimes I have difficulty tolerating what people do, but that's different from being offended. And she said, well, I had difficulty tolerating what they did when we had the Pledge of Allegiance. Because instead of just not saying under God, they insisted on shouting almost out the words indivisible at the time that under God should be said. So they were trying to impose their way of doing it on the rest of us. And it had a fair amount of effect in working that way. To me, that's something I have difficulty tolerating. So I believe that the Constitution should be followed the way it was originally written, and it says prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Now, I have perfect acceptance of you not standing when we have even a moment of silence. In fact, if you wanted to get up and go out of the room when we were even having a prayer, I would not have any difficulty tolerating that. But I have difficulty tolerating the fact that you want to impose your ways on everybody else. And I guess that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Councilmember McGrail.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to have a quick comment as to the atheists of Florida. The whole point that we're trying to make is that free speech is just that. It is free speech. You should have the right to be able to come to our podium and share your thoughts. All we would ask is that proper decorum is always conducted when you do your discussion. And frankly, I think we kind of fell down at the start of that, but I think we got our feet under us quite effectively. So as long as we can agree to disagree agreeably, I think we're going to get along just fine.
To all the rest of the people that spoke this evening, I'd like to say thank you, and I respect everybody's points of view, and even the people that disagree with me. So thank you, and appreciate your time.
I only have one comment about the one group that was in here today. there were two youngsters that were here that were leading in the Pledge of Allegiance that literally got shouted down by adults. When those kids come in here to do that, that's a highlight to them in their life. And to do that kind of maneuver, that's totally wrong. It's, I want my rights, but you can't have yours. And there's a problem with that. The Constitution's a two-way street. It works in both directions. And I think people have a tendency to forget about that. That's it for me.